Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Black Clover. Last time around we had Three Leaf Salute, where basically we learned who the traitor was amongst the captains, and it was Ham. I don't remember what his actual name was, but the merchant guy. He made a deal with the Eye of the Midnight Sun, and then he tried to get away with his invisibility magic, but Asta was able to sense his key and hit him with the Demon Slayer sword, and then the other captains came in and apprehended him. And so yeah, he's the traitor. And Julius basically told all the captains, search throughout your teams, make sure nobody has ties to the Midnight Sun. And then he had a very important mission that he could only trust to the Black Bulls, which is to go investigate the underwater temple. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much where we are. The whole team is going on an adventure now, which is pretty fun. So yeah, that is basically it. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Black Clover. Here we go. Boy, oh boy. You know, sometimes we just have to have a nice beach episode. Oh boy. I can't say too much about what Noelle looks like in her swimsuit, can I? Considering she's 15 and I'm 27. How old was I in 2018? Well, I was older than that. In 2018, I was 22? Yeah. Let's see. July 10th, 2018. My birthday is on July 9th, so it's the day after. So yeah, I was 22? No, 21. So I was 21. That's still weird. That's still weird with that kind of age difference. A 15-year-old and a 21-year-old. Considering the fact that, again, I'm 27 now, so I can't really say too much else, can I, about she looks respectfully adorable. Respectfully, Your Honor. Your Honor. Probably the biggest thing from this episode is we know Gray a little bit better. So that's his thing. He transforms. He can transform into other people, which, well, because Raya has the copy magic, so he copied someone else's ability to transform and used that last episode. But that's just Gray's magic, is the ability to transform. So I didn't even know that. I didn't even know he could do that. That's cool. So but it's a nice, fun beach episode, you know? It's a nice, fun beach episode where we can all get in a swimsuit and go hang out at the beach. I don't know. I don't know. I don't do the beach that much. I live in the central United States, so not really near beaches, but last year went up to Portland, and during that vacation, on one of those days we drove out to Cannon Beach. It's like 2 hours from Portland, but we drove out there, and we did walk along the beach, and I'm getting a text message on my phone. Mark as read, and turn that off. Walked along the beach. It was nice. I think I have pictures of that on my Instagram. I don't know. I don't post much to my Instagram. Like, that is like a once every 3 or 4 months I remember that I have Instagram. So, let me see. Yeah, I did. I posted vacation pics, some beach pics at the Pacific Ocean. So that was nice. It was cold. It was a bit cold. Even in what was it? I think it was July that we were out there. The water was still cold. I mean, yeah, that's just how it's going to be because it's so far north. But that water was really cold. It was like 60 degrees and the wind was blowing, but it was nice. It was really, really nice. And, yeah, I enjoyed it. I did not swim, but I did just enjoy going and getting my feet wet and stuff, and then realizing I didn't know what to do because I had like shoes and socks, and I didn't know what to do with myself now that my feet were wet. So, I think I did have sandals, for that, and then but eventually once we got back to the car, it's like, well, now what do I do? Because my feet, I think, were still wet at that point. I don't know, but I like it. The thing with beaches is, like the thing with everything else, everywhere else on Earth, is other people. There were people there at that beach, but there wasn't like a ton. There wasn't a ton of people. It wasn't annoying or anything. It was just nice. You could go and chill and just watch the ocean, which was nice. So I like that here. I like having that in this episode. And it was better than the last time where they went to a beach in an anime, which was Attack on Titan, and that was fun until Eren made it not fun. Which is, funny enough, the plot summary of Attack on Titan. It's fun until Eren makes it not fun. So, anyway. That's enough of Attack on Titan catching strays for today. But this was fun. I enjoyed, them going around. I don't have a ton to say about this episode, I'm going to be honest. Seke being there, of course. Seke was there. Ended up getting hit by everybody. That was funny. And then I do like that, thanks to the Petite Clover, it's like we do just have what would have happened if Asta had actually looked at her. It's just like, it's just... It's not that he's not interested, he's just not interested. He does not dislike, but he's also an idiot. He's also an idiot who's in love with a nun. So yeah, that was fun. And then the big thing at the end of the episode was that they have to get to the underwater temple at the bottom of the ocean. The only way to do that is to use their water user. So Noelle just has to get better. But I do kind of like that because it is a thing of like, well, we got to do this. You're the only one that can do it, so do it. Surpass your limits, He believes in her, And I like that. I mean, it's exactly what we talked about. We talked about episodes ago with Nozel versus Fuegoleon. Yami's the same same as Fuegoleon, where it's like, Nozel would just look at her and just be like, no, you're nothing, you're garbage. You're nothing, you're garbage. And it's just like, he never sees room to grow. He just sees the here and now. He's very logical about that and very much in the present, as I knock my glasses up. Whereas Yami saw something in her to take her into the Black Bulls and can see that she could do this if she really commits to it. And it's the same thing with Fuegoleon, with Noelle. It's just like, it's okay to be weak. The problem is staying weak. You need to be working to get stronger. So now she is, and I like that, where, she is kind of feeling overwhelmed by it, like, she just cannot control her magic. But I like that she's like, well, I'm not going to run, and I'm not going to make excuses. I'm just going to keep doing this until we can do it, So... And it's interesting, the whole thing of like, they have a week before the full moon, so they've got time for her to train. So hopefully intro girl that we see at the end here, intro outro girl with the long black hair, hopefully she helps out. And isn't an enemy and helps Noelle get better. But we'll have to see. And I guess the other thing to talk about with the episode, I completely forgot, funny enough, was actually at the beginning of, them out swimsuit shopping. That was funny. I enjoyed that, and obviously the gag of like, oh, we heard there was a disturbance, and then it's just Noelle just naked, and he just bursts from that, which out of context sounds bad, but it's kind of bad in context, technically, bad for her at least, but I love that there's just a swimsuit shop in the Clover Kingdom. Like, honestly, it's a funny thing with the Clover Kingdom and this show where it's like, this is a medieval fantasy, but I like kind of all the modern little touches that are added into it. I really like that, honestly, because, I watch shows like, Free Ren and Delicious and Dungeon and stuff, and those are just straight up medieval fantasies, and that's great, and I love those. But there is a part of me that's like, if I was in this world, how would I get by? Like, if I was like isekai'd into this world, like, how would I get by? Because, I am a man of 2025 where, my evenings consist of watching YouTube and playing video games, on my Switch or my Steam Deck. I've always I gotta have something to do with my hands and stuff like that. And so I'm like, well, if I was just thrown into a medieval fantasy world where I don't have any of those things, what would I be doing? And I will say, at the very least, like, while there's not a lot of modern things, like, there are some modern things where it's like, I think I might actually want to be in the world of Black Clover, because, I don't know, I feel like there are possibilities, There are little possibilities. Even just down to, there's just a modern-looking swimsuit shop here, Like, like, in a medieval fantasy, there aren't really swimsuits, because in the Middle Ages, there weren't swimsuits, this luxury swimming item, like that didn't exist. Maybe you strip down to your britches, but you just go in the water, or maybe to less than your britches, but like, bikinis did not exist in there, so so I don't know, it's just a really interesting thing. I like those little modern touches that this world has, and I mean, in the Petite Clover from, I think it was last episode, where it's like, oh, well, thanks to Marx's magic, like, you can play video games. Like, okay. And that I feel like that's more of a goofy Petite Clover moment than something that could actually happen. But it's like, I don't know, it's kind of funny. It's one of those things, like, I honestly, this is completely random, but I was thinking, like, if I was in a medieval fantasy world, could I make a pinball machine? Now, I have no experience with that at all, so that's already a knock against being able to do that. But if I had the time to do that, could I just figure out, trial and error, give me some stuff and a couple tools, give me some material and a couple tools. Could I just, like, brute force making a pinball machine in a medieval fantasy? And I feel like, of all of them, Black Clover is the world where that is the most likely. So that would be me. And honestly, I could fully expect that to show up in a Black Clover episode where they're like, oh yeah, we're going to this town, where maybe there's a bar or something, and in the corner there's just a medieval pinball machine, It's like, well, yeah, it works off a magic little battery that, operates it, and, the guy that owns it, he just comes in and charges it up a little bit every so often, so I don't know. It's just funny. It's funny world building with this, because it is a medieval fantasy, but it doesn't really stick to that medieval fantasy vibe. I mean, even just in their regular clothing is not really medieval fantasy at all. So, I don't know. Fun stuff. And yeah, and I'm curious to see where we are going next time. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Black Clover reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.
I've been crying for hours, baby.